crazy filter here. Brett said someday I'll have to go on without a filter, but that's just not going to happen today. So I wanted to attach a video that I made about the Netflix contacting us, wanting to do a little bit of a dog story series and talking about that. So it's a walk and talk with the dogs. I will just preface that I had to get a little distracted by the dogs because they were playing, of course, and they do cute stuff. So I might have to do a little bit more condensed version or recap it at the end. So it's just kind of a walk and talk and how that got started and how some of the people that they had interviewed and what they had said about us. So hopefully you find it interesting, and hopefully you don't get distracted by the dogs either. But you know, that's just it. They're a distraction, and you don't need to sit and look at me the whole time. So here you go. Alright guys, so like the beginning of the Netflix story was a lady from work. She was a district manager for Sephora, and I'm a general manager for JCPenney's. She came by one day and she said, you know, that they're always looking for dog stories. I think they were doing a series on dogs. And she told me that I should actually get a hold of them. And one way to do that was to tag them on all your Instagram photos. So I did that. And one day I got an email and I was freaking out because it said that they wanted to interview us, and they were from Netflix and had a lot of questions and wanted to know our story. So I asked another person to come look at the email to make sure that that was real. And, you know, because there's so many scams, you never know what's going on. So I did end up getting a hold of this agent, and I talked to her, and she talked to a few of our friends and pack members. And I say pack members, and part of the family is just because anybody who comes here, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 times, you end up becoming part of our family. And that's where the aunties and the uncles and the, you know, the Auntie Stephanies come from, and the Auntie Jackies and Auntie Pams. And all of the people that we call aunt and uncles are truly, they're not our family members, truly blood family, but they are our family. And they are wonderful people, along with all of you who have been following us for so long and following our journey, that you just become part of our family. We are very transparent. We're oversharers. We're an open book. And I had always thought that a reality show of some kind or being on TV would be pretty cool. Brett, on the other hand, probably didn't think so. If you can imagine, like, there would have been cameras here from October through February. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So they had interviewed us. They wanted to know kind of the book of characters that we have and different dogs and their personalities. Back then we didn't have these three, Smokey, Rip, and Storm. And we had Uncle Dave, who was building and building and building and building all kinds of extra rooms for us and remodeling this old farmhouse. And so they talked to him and interviewed him, I believe, twice. They talked to Auntie Jackie, who was the one who started all of the meet and greets, and she's from Florida, and helped us along with this journey and has been one of our biggest cheerleaders. And they came up with a storyline that they were going to follow us from October to February, but there would be cameras here every single day. So kind of the day in the life, what we do for people. And so we didn't really understand what we did for people until they started talking to the visitors who have been here. A lot of people come because they can't have 15 dogs. They want to see our dogs. They're emotionally connected. I'm not really sure. I say that, but there are reasons why people come, and they come to see our dogs. They come to not just play with the dogs, but to get an education on the Malamutes, to actually see pack members in their place, whether you have the alpha or the babies or the second in line, and how they all treat each other and how they play themselves. It's a really interesting dynamics. You could watch them all day long and learn a lot from them. How Lambo's kind of the papa of all of the dogs, and he makes sure that Chucky doesn't get out of line because Chucky's only 4. And how he doesn't discipline Smokey, which is absolutely amazing. Now they're all riled up. So anyway, they interviewed a lot of different people. And they're gonna play for a minute. So while they were interviewing them, there were people who told them who we were, we were part of somebody's last dying wish, actually 2 people. One lady that her mother was so sick and the last thing she wanted to do was see one of our Malamute puppies. So when we were in Galena, the daughter pulls up with her mom in the car, and we had just Nanook then as the puppy, the only puppy that we had at the time, and we brought him out to the car, and she was so thankful and such just made a lot of memories for her and her mom. And then we had another lady who had known the dogs and had visited in Galena and then in our Bellevue home. And her name is Tracy Keith. And her name was Tracy Keith, and she had had lung cancer. And she lived in Nebraska, and her treatments were in Chicago. So she would drive back and forth, and on her way to and from her treatment, she'd stop by and see the dogs. And we were just getting Kalik. She had met Nanook, and little white Nanook. And she got to see him as a puppy, and she went to Chicago, and she was on her way back or wanted to come back, and she ended up being in the hospital longer than she had planned. And all she wanted to know from the doctors, is she going to be able to come back and see Kalik on her way back? And unfortunately, she didn't make it. And her family, in honor of her, had donated some dog food and some money towards the pups, because this was one of her favorite things, and she just loved animals so much. She wasn't married, she didn't have kids, and this was her place, her solitude, her cathartic experience. So, hold on that note for a moment. Hi, babies. I think that's the first time you've been up there, Rip. Of course, you get sidetracked with all of the shenanigans that these guys do. All right, so here's part of this story. Brett and I are not married. I don't know if people know that or not. We've been together 19 years now, this last February 17th. And according to Netflix, they had all envisioned a wedding on top of the hill, a Christmas wedding. So it would have been with the snow and the dogs around with bow ties. Ooh, he dodged a bullet there, didn't he? Didn't he, Odie? He can't make an honest woman of mommy yet. Anyway, there's supposed to be a wedding here. That's a whole nother story. So getting back to the story, no wedding has taken place since then. That's been 2 years now, so which is totally fine. But I did change my last name to Terrell, so I changed it because it's just a lot easier. It's so hard to say boyfriend and then my old last name and then my new last name, and so I just changed it without Brett knowing. I'll have to see if I can find that video. It's been about a year now, coming up on Easter, when I changed it, and then I surprised him and told him that I changed my last name. So that was kind of a cute video too that I did. Well, I thought it was cute. It was kind of funny. Anyway, getting back to Netflix, the story is going on and on and on. Obviously, we did not get picked up by them. At the end of the day, I ended up getting an email just saying that they went with someone else, but if we ended up getting a puppy, they wanted to follow us for an entire year. So I think not only did Brett dodge a bullet by marrying me, he dodged a bullet by just not having cameras in your house. Like, can you imagine 24/7 every day for just a few months, let alone an entire year? So we waited another year and got 3 puppies, Smokey, Rip, and Storm. So they really weren't planned. You know, none of our puppies are ever planned, I don't think. You never know when you're going to get one. You never know when the timing is right. Is it ever right? And if they're going to fit in. That's yet another video. So we appreciate everybody who they interviewed. They interviewed Auntie Jackie, Uncle Dave, a couple other people that we have. I don't know if they want their names mentioned, but it was a pretty lengthy, probably a 6-week period where they actually interviewed everyone. And I believe it was the Netflix for Dog series that they had. It was pretty interesting. I did watch a couple of the videos, so maybe we just didn't have enough drama in our lives. I'm not sure. Come on, boys! Smokers! Chooky! Rippy! Come on, boys. Come Come on, baby. Smoke. Come on, lamb. Hi, baby. So thanks for listening to our story about Netflix. I know it was a little long and drawn on and interrupted by dogs, but that's what you're here for, is the dogs. So if you like this video or like other videos or want to know more about us, I guess we're creating our own little reality show here on YouTube. And if you want to know more or just see the dogs, some of it's unfiltered, it's not really planned. As you can tell, everything is spontaneous, so you kind of see it as it happens. So I'm not sure if you like that kind of video. If you do, like and subscribe below, and we'll see you on the next one.